Hi, this is Anita from the Dusty Roads podcast. And as some of you know that might be listening, one of the things I kind of like to talk about a little bit is sailing, because I think sailing is kind of a great way to be able to explore and to see parts of the world. Today, I want to talk about a keelboat versus a dinghy sailboat, and specifically, which one is better to learn to sail on, and why I think one might be better than another for certain conditions and reasons. I have personally learned to sail on both of them, but I actually have a preference on which one I sail on, and I will tell you that later at the end of the podcast. So, first let's talk about what is a keelboat. A keelboat is a boat that has a keel that's fixed. And the keel is basically that long thing that hangs down on the boat, which is fixed onto the boat. And the purpose of the keel is to help provide sideways resistance needed to counter the force of the wind on the sails. So in other words, in very simple terms, what it means is a keelboat is very difficult to tip over. Sometimes when we're out on Lake Michigan, now we sail on a keelboat, which is called an ensign keelboat, and it's about 22 feet long. It's a boat that can very easily handle 4 adults quite comfortably. So it's not a small size boat, it's a good size boat. And it weighs 3,000 pounds. So when we're out there on the winds on Lake Michigan, it's really hard to tip over that boat. In fact, we were told that you had to be a really good sailor to tip it over because it is very difficult or almost impossible to tip over. A keelboat will have the mainsail and a jib sail for sailing. You know, the ensign sailboat that we sail on is kind of a perfect keelboat for people to learn on. It's small enough that you can get, feel for the wind when sailing, but it's also very safe to sail. So, that's one reason why the Ensign's kind of a popular boat. A lot of people like the Ensign boat. And, it can easily hold like an instructor or 2 or 3 students. And because of the weight, it really means that you don't really have to worry about the boat tipping over. Now, dinghy is a little different. A dinghy is a sailboat that's much lighter than a keelboat. And it's usually smaller than 20 feet, and it does not have a keel or ballast. Most dinghies are, 9 to 16 feet or 3 to 5 meters long. But a dinghy will have a center board, and that's the board that you put in and out and of the boat. And you can transport a dinghy easier than you could, say, a keelboat. And because a dinghy has no keel, or ballast, it can also tip over or capsize easier, especially if you're going in strong wind. And because it's a smaller boat, you can sail a dinghy by yourself or without a crew. A lot of the keelboats, especially the keelboat that I talked about, the Ensign one that I sail, you can only sail it with 2 people. 2 people is minimum. You can have up to 4 people. Maybe you could have 6 people in there if you like to be really, really comfortable together. But you have to have at least 2 people in the boat to be able to sail the boat. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about which one is basically better to learn to sail on, because this is kind of a question that a lot of people looking to sail. Well, which one should I learn to sail on? I mean, which one's better for it? The truth is that both of them are great to learn to sail on, but they both have a different feel to them, and they are different types of boats. I learned to sail on a dinghy when I took some sailing lessons in the Philippines. And the Philippines, we were in a place in the Philippines called Puerto Galera, which is outside Manila. It's a sailing club there. And they have a lot of these small dinghy sailboats. It's a great boat to sail there. The water's warm there, so you don't need to worry about, getting wet and getting cold. You've got just enough wind there. You're not too far from shore, so if you happen to tip over, you can easily get help. So you're basically sailing around these islands. So it's in that sense, I think it's a really great boat for those conditions and those waters. Also, if the ocean floor is not very deep, of course, a dinghy, the center board doesn't go down quite as deep as a keel would on a keelboat. Also, too, the dinghy sails very nicely. You can also sail a dinghy by yourself. It can be a boat that you can sail completely by yourself. And you can handle it by yourself. You can go out there on the water by yourself. You can transport it to a lake and sail it because it's very easy to transport and to sail. And that's what really, makes a dinghy like a great boat for a lot of people. It's easy. You can sail it. It's transportable, and you can store it away very easily for the winter because, it's a boat you could maybe stick in a garage or if you have some other place that you can maybe stick your dinghy sailboat up there and then bring it out when you have the season again. But I've also sailed a keelboat. And one of the things I like about the keelboat, and especially when I'm sailing on Lake Michigan, is it doesn't tip over. I've been on several dinghies where they've tipped over. And one of the things they have you learn when you take instruction on a dinghy is you have to be able to capsize the boat and bring the capsized boat up. Now, you might think, well, that sounds kind of easy. You just sort of like stand on the boat and bring it up. Yes, but when the sails are wet and in the water and the water is dragging those sails down, it can be very difficult to try to bring the boat up, especially by yourself. It takes a huge amount of strength to be able to stand on that boat, get on that boat, and pull that boat up to be straight up and get back into the boat from the water. So those are all reasons why it can sometimes be difficult, with a dinghy. And, if don't have that kind of strength, or you don't want to have to bother with tipping over, then I would recommend having looking at a keelboat. But here's a couple things to remember about a keelboat. Now, a keelboat has a long keel that goes down. So it is not a boat that's easy to transport around. It's not a boat where you can say, oh, I'm going to have it in my garage and then bring it to the lake and then sail it on the lake. At the Milwaukee Community Sailing Center where I sail, we have keelboats there, and they bring them in during the season and leave them in the water. And then they bring them out when the season's up, or the winter time, which is usually the end of October. And then they do various work on them and other things and put them back in the water. But I've seen them move those boats, and they are difficult to move. They are heavy. So if you have a slip that you're able to put your boat on and you can sell it for the season, and you want to be in a boat that's, sort of comfortable, you can take it out for a day sail. You don't have to, worry about bringing it in and out of the lake. You don't have to worry about it tipping over. A keelboat is a great one. So now I'm going to tell you which one I prefer. Having learned to sail on both a dinghy and a keelboat, I would have to say I like the keelboat. And there's several reasons why I like a keelboat. For me, one of the reasons why I like a keelboat is I sort of like the way it handles. I like the fact that it's a bigger boat. I like the fact if the winds get really rough, and sometimes they do get rough out there on Lake Michigan, and sometimes we're almost like standing up on the boat itself and trying to lean over the side of the boat, and it feels like it's going to tip, but to know it's not going to tip over and you're not going to end up capsized, I just sort of like that feel of the boat itself. I also like the way the keelboat handles. But those are just my own preferences. But of course, with the keelboat, I'm able to sail it because I sail with the Milwaukee Community Sailing Center. It's on a slip. I don't have to bring the boat in and out, except they don't bring it out except for the season. And so it's a very comfortable boat to sail on Lake Michigan. And also, on top of that, Lake Michigan is quite a deep lake. So because the bottom of the boat has quite a large keel, we are able to sail it on Lake Michigan. So the question of whether you should learn to sail on a dinghy or a keelboat, really, that question is a lot of where are you sailing? Are you sailing in a place where the water's shallow, where a keelboat wouldn't work? Are you sailing in a place where you need to bring the boat in and out, where the boat is not on a slip? Those are all questions you need to ask yourself to know which one is better to learn to sail on. This is Anita from the Dusty Roads Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. We appreciate you and appreciate your time. We know without you, our listeners, it would not be possible. We'd also like to thank Rico, who helps put this all together. Thank you all.